Don't confuse owning a job with running a business. The last thing you want as an online business owner is to really just own a job. What you want to do is run a business, and the difference is really important. And that is, when it's a business, you should have systems and people in place so that you can walk away from it at any point and it keeps running and even growing without you. When you own a job, it's the complete opposite. If you work, you get paid. If you don't work, you don't get paid. And so many self-employed people have that. They have a job, not a business. It's completely dependent on their direct input of time. If they don't show up and do the work, they don't get paid, and they don't really have a business. Any business that relies on you to do the work to generate revenue is a job. We don't want a job, and we don't want to own a job. The difference between a job and a business are the systems, automations, and/or people that you put in place to run it without you. So in this video, I'm going to give you 3 ways that you can ensure that what you have is a business that is running itself and not a job that you just own. For that, stick around. My name's Lane. This is my channel. I love to help digital entrepreneurs start and grow their passive income style online businesses. If you're into that kind of thing, be sure to go to lanesebring.com/supersimple. That does 2 things. Number 1, you'll get my super simple guide to your first $500 online. This is my step-by-step process for how to go from having an idea about what you want to do online to make money and making your first $500 from it. Once you make that first $500, it's proof of concept and you can make a whole heck of a lot more, and I'm here to help you do that. The second thing it does is it subscribes you to this, which is my newsletter called the 6-Figure Fast Lane. You're watching it on video, but there also is a written version of this, and it gets emailed to you every Tuesday. You can opt out at any time, but why not join us, me and 1,500 other subscribers over at the 6-Figure Fast Lane newsletter. You can do all of that over at lanesebring.com/supersimple. So the difference between a job and a business is that a business should be set up with systems and automations and people to run without you. But the question is, how do you put those things into place? Because many of us go into online business and we just kind of start building out these pieces. We start making content on YouTube, or we start a podcast, or we start on TikTok, or whatever our content strategy is. And then we get a lead magnet, and then we get an email list, and then we build our first course, and then we build our second course. And if we're not careful, what tends to happen is we wake up one day and the business might be doing well and it might be making a lot of money, and yet we're doing a whole heck of a lot of things. And eventually what happens is you kind of get stuck because you hit this place where the business can only grow if you continue to put in the same amount of work that you've been putting in or more. And that can become very exhausting. And then the possibilities of what you can do become endless, and it becomes almost impossible to decide what you should be even thinking about or working on. This is where it's incredibly helpful to do what Tim Ferriss suggests in his book, The 4-Hour Workweek. He suggests an evaluation method of elimination, automation, and delegation. And this is what I do. It's what I've done for years. And I'm going to show you how I apply it in this video. It's really just 3 simple steps, and we'll go through each one of them right now. The first one that he talks about, and what I do, is to eliminate the fluff. This is very hard for a lot of business owners because we get attached to things that we either think we should be doing, or that we've been doing for a long time, or that maybe worked at one point. But here's what I encourage you to do if you want to win with your business, and that is this: get rid, eliminate, destroy, stop doing anything that doesn't have a direct connection to profit. And you need to be like brutal about this, especially if you're a solopreneur. You do not have the luxury of doing things just because they're fun, or you like doing them, or it's what's expected of you, or it's what you saw somebody else doing, if it's not putting money in your pocket. I like what Donald Miller says in his book, Marketing Made Simple. He says, making money may not be the reason you went into business, but it's going to be the reason you stay in business. As a solopreneur, you just don't have the luxury of fluff and fat in your business. And really, you're going to find that even as you grow and become not a solopreneur, let's say you put a team together, you're going to have even less room for fat and fluff if you want to continue to scale your business. Because here's something I've discovered. If you're doing a lot of things because you see that other people are doing them, or even worse, you're falling back into the pattern you had when you were employed and had a boss and looking busy was rewarded, where actual results were undervalued, and you're letting that sense of what is everyone else doing and what can I just do that will make me feel busy, you are going to run out of steam. Your business is not going to grow. And at worst, you're going to completely go out of business, which I'm guessing you don't want. So because of this, every year I evaluate everything that I do in my business and I decide what needs to be eliminated. And in years past, I've gotten rid of things that I liked doing, even things that I was good at, but no longer contributed to my best stuff, that no longer contributed to what Dan Sullivan calls my unique ability, the thing that I uniquely contribute to my business. If I'm not doing that, whatever I'm doing should stop happening. And this is really at two levels. This is the things that I personally do as the business owner, and this is also what the business itself does. And you can get caught in the trap of the business still needs to do everything, but I'll just do a few things. And while that's better than you just trying to do everything, you're still trying to run a business that does everything, and that's exhausting, and it has a hard time scaling. So maybe your business doesn't need to be on every single platform just because they're out there and people use them. Maybe you need to be on a few and really dominate on those select few. Maybe you don't need to make a course about every little thing, but make a course about the best thing that you can do. Maybe you don't need to make content that's 1,000 miles wide and an inch deep. Maybe you need to go 1,000 miles deep and an inch wide so that you're more laser focused on the niche and the target audience that you uniquely can speak to. So have the courage to do less stuff so you can get more from the few best things that remain. So number one, eliminate the fluff. Number two, automate whenever possible. Create automations around anything that can run without you. I use software, mostly Kajabi, to run 90% of my business in the background of my life. This is the most important thing in your business, especially when you're a solopreneur and maybe you haven't delegated anything to a human being yet, but you can automate things using software like Kajabi. When you have that power to set and forget, it really gives you that time freedom in your life that all of us go into online business craving and seeking. So I'm always looking in my business to try to figure out what is a manual process that really should be automated. And an example of when this happened, as you know, I promote Kajabi. By the way, if you're not on Kajabi, you can get a free 30-day trial using my link, lanesebring.com/Kajabi. You also get a set of bonuses. Those bonuses used to be delivered manually. So people would use my link and they would email me, because I would say like, use my link and then just email me and let me know you signed up and I will deliver you my bonuses. And so they would email me and say, hey, I signed up, and I would send them an email. So that's a lot of manual back and forth. They're emailing me, I'm emailing them. Then they would want to schedule, and I would just this ridiculous back and forth that would waste their time, waste my time. And it's not scalable. It worked when there was only like 1, 2, 3 people, but now there's 300, 400 people. That doesn't work. So somewhere along the way, I decided to automate the process. So now when they use my link, or when you use my link, lanesebring.com/Kajabi, what happens is they get an email automatically from Kajabi, but written by me, where I say, hey, thank you so much for using my link. Here is the link to download your bonuses. So they get that link and that gets them their bonuses, gets them their free course, the Kajabi Accelerator, and they get a Calendly link to schedule their one-time free 45-minute call with me. All of that happens completely automated. It's completely the ball gets bounced completely into their court. And I don't have anything to do with that process until I show up for the call that they schedule. So they get my availability, they put themselves on my calendar, they get a reminder, I get a reminder, it gets put on both of our calendars, and I show up and I say, hey, tell me about what's going on with your Kajabi business. What are you doing? How can I help? And we have a great conversation. And it's so much better that it's automated. It's better for them, it's better for me, and it becomes more scalable. So my question for you is, what is currently a manual process in your business that your hands are on that could be automated, maybe using software or maybe using a system that you just don't yet have in place. So whatever can't be eliminated and can't be automated, we're going to delegate to another person. Think of it like a contractor or an employee, or to a done-for-you service like an agency. So the way I gauge this in my business is that anything that doesn't require my voice or face can be handed off to someone else. Literally anything I do. It doesn't mean that I've handed everything off, because I'm still in process and I'm relatively new. My business is actually pretty new. It's just grown fast. So some of this stuff, like my business growth, has outpaced how good I am at doing these things. But these are the things that I have always done and that are going to ramp up in 2024 so that I can get better as my business has grown. I can kind of grow into my business, if that makes sense. But if it's not my voice or face, it can literally be done by an automated system using software or another person. And I am always working on my business to free up more time and make it more passive. I don't want to work more than about 30 hours a week at the very most, and 4 days a week at the very most. And so if I want my business to grow, which I do, and I want it to be a 7-figure business, which I do, I'm going to have to use these systems to make sure that it's not all dependent on me, because that is going to fail at some point. And the challenge with this is I have a virtual assistant and I have an editor. The problem is that I haven't utilized them the way that I really should, because I'll be honest, of all these things, elimination, not hard for me. At times it can be, but when I get tired of doing something or I realize it's not contributing to my bottom line, I have no problem getting rid of most things. And automation, because Kajabi makes that so easy, that base is pretty well covered. But when it comes to delegating, it feels like such a challenge to me. I'll just be honest. It feels like such a big task. And it feels like something that's going to require so much from me. And what I've learned is that when I hand something off, it's not nearly as hard as I thought it was going to be, or that I, made it in my mind to be. And my assistant or the editor or whoever can usually do it faster and better than me eventually, and sometimes right away. And so the only bottleneck in that process is me not wanting to do it. And I'm just being honest. This is something I'm really working on. In 2024, I want to ramp this up to a whole new level, hire more people, make this a bigger part of what I do in my business, because I'm trying to scale pretty aggressively. I'll talk about that more in some other videos. But this has to be something that you prioritize if you're ever going to completely free yourself up in the way that you probably want to. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to have this big bloated team of in-person employees and be the boss. That doesn't necessarily have to happen. You can hire contractors, you can have part-time work, all remote. It doesn't have to be this burden on you as much as you might think and as much as I might think, because I really don't want to manage people. I don't really like that. I didn't enjoy it when I was employed. I didn't like being managed. I don't like managing, right? So I'm trying to figure out how to level up and delegate in a way that is healthy for me and will grow my business. So as I'm making this video in late 2023, I'm going to let you know how these things are going on into 2024. And I would love to know how it's going for you as you are delegating out some of the things that you want to do. So my question for you is, what should you delegate to someone else this year that maybe you have been putting off, or maybe you haven't thought about it, but if you were to think about it, you'd be like, I shouldn't be doing fill in the blank. Shouldn't be doing emails, shouldn't be doing my own YouTube thumbnails, shouldn't be doing my own cold calling. If you have that model of business, whatever the case is for you, what is the thing that maybe you do that you really shouldn't do? And will you hand that off this year? Let me know in the comments. So eliminate, automate, delegate. It's really that simple. And we have Tim Ferriss to thank for this, because he took what could be a very complicated process and just boiled it down into those 3 things. And if you read the book, there is another step that I didn't include in that, and it's determine. And it's what I talked about in my previous video and in the 3rd issue of the 6-Figure Fastlane newsletter. And that is, if you want to have the life and business you want, you have to determine what kind of life and business you want. Before you can start eliminating and automating and delegating, you have to actually decide and determine, what do I want this to look like? And so that's why it's so important to be subscribed to the newsletter because you can read all of them and you can do them in a sequence because it's going to make sense. When it all comes together, you're going to go, oh, I see what he was doing here. He's taking us through a process, a journey. I'm taking you through the same journey that I'm going on or that I've been on, and it's really helped me. So decide first, and then once you've decided, now you can clearly and easily eliminate, automate, and delegate. So I encourage you this week to take one of these actions, eliminate, automate, and delegate. Just one. Don't try to do all of it this week. But what would be the thing if you were looking at it and saying, I think I'm going to eliminate something? What could you eliminate? Or maybe for you, it's like, okay, it's time to automate my business. I'm going to get on Kajabi. I'm going to use Lane's Link. It's the time to do it. Or maybe you're like, I need to hire an assistant. So come heck or high water, I'm getting on to Upwork or wherever you do it, and I'm finding someone to work with me, or I'm at least taking a step in that direction. Do one thing this week, and then next week do another thing and another thing. And what you'll find is eventually you'll go, oh my gosh, I've eliminated a lot of stuff, I've automated a lot of stuff, and I've delegated some things, and now I feel free. I feel light. I feel like I can bring my best and unique and highest contribution to the table because that's what I do best. I want that for you. And honestly, I want it for me because I'm still trying to figure this out, but we're going to figure it out together. Thank you so much for watching. If, by the way, you haven't started your online business, I have a great video for you. It's right here. It's about starting your online business in 3 steps. 3 steps to 6 figures. I'm at multiple 6 figures, and so I have some things to say about how to get to 6. So click right there, and I'll see you in that video.